While we've grown up, we've mini bung. I'm Engineer Hoist, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Transformers Jurassic Park crossover Tyrannocon Rex and Autobot JP93. You can see them here. They just arrived from Amazon. It is the 2021 crossover. It's got a nice little scene where the Tyrannosaurus is attacking the Ford Explorer, and he's even stepped on the one that's overturned. On the sides, you can see it's got the danger 10,000 volts with that Tyrannosaurus claw there. The other side is the same. It does say Jurassic Park on the top. And on the back, we've got that gigantic Tyrannosaurus Rex footprint. And there is a little story there.
Tyrannocon Rex is loose. Repeat, Tyrannocon Rex is loose. Do not panic. Autobot JP3 has been dispatched and is equipped to handle the situation. With state-of-the-art GPS tracking systems and all-wheel drive for traversing bumpy jungle terrain, JP93 will track down the asset out of containment, and return her to her paddock promptly. If you see Tyrannocon Rex, do not approach her. Please call Jurassic Park security when you are safely out of range.
And there's also other languages if you happen to read those instead of English. Okay, so let's go ahead and get them out of the package and go take a look at them. One more note on the packaging that I discovered after I opened it up. There's a nice little Easter egg on the inside flap of Mr. DNA. Okay, so now that we've got it out of the package, what will you get inside the package? You get instructions, of course. It's really nice full color images of the figures there. The instructions are still your standard black and white with the colored bits that are moving, which is, I think, really helpful. And even inside, you get full color images of the figures for each of their modes. Pretty cool. And for accessories, pretty much the only thing you get is you get a rifle for Autobot JP3, which is, yeah, that's basically it. You can store this weapon either on the roof, or there's a couple of slots on the weapon. This slot is used for robot mode. This little slot back here is for the vehicle mode, and there's a little peg underneath where you can store that there if you don't want it to be quite so obvious that he's got a rifle carrying around. So yeah, so basically there you go. You've got the Ford Explorer here. It's got the really nice Jurassic Park logo and sign there on the side, on both sides actually, plus also the Jurassic Park logo on the hood, along with all the tiger stripes or dino stripes, I suppose. And yeah, it looks really good. Looks just like the vehicle in the movie. Got the yellow hubcaps, painted tail lights. So it's just really, really nice job. You've got the clear windows, clear moonroof, sunroof, viewing window. Because you know that's the part that the T-Rex goes and breaks through to try to get those kids there in the movie. Spoiler alert for a almost 30-year-old movie. But yeah, so he's looking real nice in his vehicle mode, and then you've got Tyrannocon Rex here, basically looking just like Beast Wars Megatron or the T-Rex recolor. Except it's just brown instead of purple or red. Now, when I was looking for vehicles that this could be based on, it's really difficult. I don't think this is a mold that we've seen in Transformers before. There's some hints of Studio Series Jazz in the front part with the arms and all that, and you'll see that when we get to Transformation. The back, for some reason, it seems real familiar to me, the way the back end transforms, but I can't seem to pinpoint it. Regardless, it's even if they use existing transformation gimmicks that they've done before, it's definitely a unique mold, if not heavily retooled of some things that they've done before. Okay, time for some comparisons in vehicle mode for Autobot JP3. Here he is with Earthrise Hoist, which is, I think, a pretty decent comparison for the similar style of vehicle. Hoist is more of a stylized cartoon type of thing, whereas JP3 is more trying to be realistic. And we can also bring in Road Rage here. And I think that's actually a pretty good scale there. So let's go ahead and transform this guy. Go ahead and remove the weapon if you haven't already. And what we'll do is we'll open up the doors. And then that allows us to bring out the arms. You just pull them up a little bit, rotate them around, and then bring them all the way up. Just like that. And you can go ahead and break it at the hood, separate it, not break it, and bring that whole front piece forward. It's all clear plastic, so be careful. Like I said, don't break it. And then you take the back section and you just kind of rotate it out. You can separate the legs, and then these top pieces here, they come off and fold all the way around to become his feet. Now the first time you take him past that last little bit there, it might be a little scary, especially since it's clear plastic, but it is supposed to do that. So now back up here on the top, let me raise the camera a little bit. It tends to happen. This is where I say it's very similar to the Studio Series Jazz. You just rotate the whole wheel well around to the outside and then bring it down. And there is this little flap here on the way to robot mode. It will kind of unflap itself as you rotate that, but you will need to remember to do that before you go back to vehicle mode, which if you forget, you'll be reminded because it won't go over his head. And then you can, instead of having his hands up like he's being robbed or something, you go ahead and bring those back down. Flip out the fists. There we go. There is a little bit of a click to get them in there. And then this little piece, it's got a tab right there in the center of the windshield, kind of tabs into the back of his back right here. And it's not very secure, but it kind of more or less holds it in place. And then his gun, he does have some weapon storage in robot mode. There is a little tab here in the back behind the windshield that goes into that longer slot that I pointed out before. You can just kind of tab that in there like that, and then he just kind of holds it on his back. And of course he can hold it in either one of his fists. So now a closer look at this guy. He's looks real nice. I mean, he's got really decent articulation. The arms can pretty much do whatever you want. He's got the shoulders there, but you can move the doors out of the way if you want to fully rotate it for some reason. He does have a ball joint at the elbow, which is a little surprising. I would have expected more of a hinge and a bicep swivel or whatever. You get the same motion out of the ball joint, but it's a little surprising to have on a figure such as this. But that may have been something to do with how he transforms and gets his arms in there. Maybe it was easier to pull off with a ball joint instead of the more advanced joints, as you might say. It has no waist swivel, but he does have ball joints at the hips, which will get you pretty much all the motion you want. You rotate at the thigh. The knee bend is about as deep as you want because that's basically his transformation. And he does have some ankle tiltage there for you. Although the parts that form his feet don't quite go all the way back, so he almost seems like a little, he doesn't want to stand completely straight. I mean, you can make it happen, but it kind of feels springy, like he's walking on like spring shoes or something like that. When you try to pose him, you want to try to get him solid, but then he kind of springs back, so it's a little weird. It's fine. But yeah, so there he goes, and a little bit of a look at his head. I mean, it's a nice looking head. I love the little like hat there, like he's like the I don't even remember his name, but that hunter from the first movie where he goes and clever. The guy says "clever girl." You guys know what his name is. I'm sure it'll show up in the comments. But anyway, it's kind of like the hat like that because that dude's kind of Australian. That's similar to an Australian hat. So I figured this dude would probably be friends with Outback or something like that. But yeah, really cool looking figure, and pretty easy to transform, but yet still fun. So I like it. Comparisons. Here he is with Siege Sideswipe. So you can see he's a bit bigger than a deluxe. Generation selects alternate universe Prime with the monster toy hack set applied, so you can see how he compares with the Voyager. Definitely not quite Voyager status, but is a little bit bigger than a deluxe. And Earthrise Hoist, who's notable for being a rather large deluxe himself while still being a deluxe class, and you can see they're roughly the same size. So if you wanted to put a label on this guy, I'd call him a larger size deluxe class. And now we have Tyrannocon Rex, who is everything you would expect from this figure if you've had any experience with T-Rex or Beast Wars Megatron from Kingdom at all, because it's pretty much the same figure. There's one small difference in robot mode. I mean, other than the paint job, I mean, really nice brown tones all the way around. It's mostly light. I think that's the plastic color. It's got dark brown on certain areas, is dark brown across the top with some stripes going on here. The teeth are painted as you might expect. It's got yellow eyes with the eyeballs painted and everything. You know, you got the tongue inside. He's even still got the place where you can put a blast effect in there. So if you have the Megatron, you can go ahead and put that in there and have him spitting just like a natural Tyrannosaurus Rex would do, assuming he was crossbred with a Dilophosaur or something. But it's there. You could do it if you want. It does not come with one of its own in this set, but the feature is still available. And yeah, so basically there you go. It's exactly the same. Any issues you may have had with the others, you're gonna have the same issues with this one. But personally, I like this figure and you know, this whole mold and everything. So how about we go ahead and transform this guy or gal? If we look at the if we go by what the bio said, you know, they referred to this character as a her. And thinking back to Jurassic Park, all the dinosaurs were female, at least until life found a way. We interrupt this transformation sequence for some dinosaur mode comparisons, which I forgot to do. So there is Tyrannocon Rex with T-Rex and Megatron. Now that is a nice looking Tyrannosaurus family right there. Very natural looking. Looks way more like Tyrannosaurus Rexes than that other big bozo that is famous in Transformers. Me Grimlock, no bozo. Me king. Alright, get out of here, Grimlock. We're not talking about you right now. Okay, so yeah, there you go. T-Rex, Tyrannocon Rex, and Megatron. Now back to the transformation. So we start off by go ahead and lifting these bits up here, and we rotate them back. And I always just go ahead and rotate these here. I don't necessarily follow the exact instructions order, but I get there. So we've got all that, and this part flips up and folds into itself and tabs. So now he's a Tyrannosaurus, or she's a Tyrannosaurus with wings. That's a scary thought. Open up the body off camera, so because that makes it for a much better review. Untab. Yeah, well, doesn't snap there. So hold the waist and it kind of untabs from the chest there. And fold this up out of the way. You can even move the legs and straighten them out a bit if you want. Give this a spin, the torso here, so that the chest part is facing forward towards where the snap is. And rotate it up. Before you get it all put in place, you go ahead and spin out the head. And these parts fold in, but not before these parts fold down. They're kind of spring-loaded, so they kind of help you as long as they're not held up. That was these parts here because it was off camera again. So there we go. So that's all kind of folded there. And then this chest, you get that, and it kind of snaps around this part where it came untabbed from before. And let's work on the legs. It doesn't, I mean, you can give her a wide stance if you want, but you're supposed to go ahead and fold these down. Not the easiest joints to work with. It's kind of a double joint in there, and a couple of the spots where you have to rotate them are a little tight. And then you got to bring them together. They kind of tab up in there and tab together. I don't recall having as much trouble with the other figures doing that during this step, but I got a little trouble with this one. It's just pretty tight, although that went together pretty good. And when they come untabbed up top again, you just kind of redo it. Retab it. There we go. And we'll bring the camera up a little bit more and we'll work on the arms. This arm's pretty easy. You just kind of straighten it out. And they say to rotate it around, so that gives you kind of a little elbow. I like to usually leave it like this to where I can see the whole profile of the Tyrannosaurus head. And then this side here, you rotate this bit around and open these up and flip them around. I found that these are actually a little bit easier to flip around than on the Megatron, because I had a real trouble with Megatron flipping those parts back around to that side. But not a problem on this figure. And then you go ahead and just straighten out the arm the way that you want to. And there you have Tyrannocon Rex in her robot mode. And you can bring the T-Rex arms, position them however you want to. We'll just leave them there. And yeah, so there you go. Really nice. Basically identical to the other two with the exception of the head. The head is a new mold. It's very reminiscent of Grimlock. But you know, the chest pieces and everything else, it's all the exact same molding, but you know, obviously different colors. And honestly, I love the red and the black. It works really, really well for this figure. And here she is with T-Rex and Megatron, and as you can see, they are all basically the exact same figure, as I've said multiple times during this review, but yeah, it's true. With the exception of the head and the paint job, they're all the same, so if you like these two, you're gonna love her. If you hate these two, you're gonna hate her. But I think it's great. I do, like I said, I like this particular mold, and even if you never transform her into the robot mode and just use the Tyrannosaurus mode for a display or something, I think you're going to be happy because she looks great in that Tyrannosaurus mode. And yeah, so let's go ahead and come back for some final thoughts, and we'll get on out of here. Okay, so after a long wait, we did finally get the Jurassic Park crossover with Autobot JP93 and Tyrannocon Rex, and I think they're both really cool. Obviously, Tyrannocon Rex is basically the Kingdom Megatron mold, which is fantastic. I love it. If you love it, you'll love this one too. And we got basically a new figure here with Autobot JP3. He's got some similar transformation modes, but I mean, he is like spot on to the Jurassic Park vehicle. Should you get it? Well, I would say if you're a fan of Jurassic Park and Transformers, then this set is exactly for you. I mean, I've got the Jurassic Park inspired TF concert from Orlando that, you know, didn't happen, but I still got the shirt because it's awesome. So I'm real happy with it. It's a little pricey for what's a leader class and a deluxe class, but with these crossovers, we do also pay a premium for the licensing. Personally, I love it. If you're like me, you'll love it too. And basically, as I knock things over in my set, that's basically it for the review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And I'm Engineer Hoist. Keep rolling, my friends, and we'll see you next time.